Alabama beats Missouri in a game that finishes, 27-24.
Yeah.
I'll shut up and just let you talk about some good SEC football on Saturday.
Listen, the bottom line is that right now, what Ty Simpson's doing is surgical. He's a cyborg. He's not built for this planet, and he certainly is on well paced to be in the Big Apple for the Heisman Trophy presentation. Every single throw that he makes, it's spellbounding. Now, sometimes it ends up being a drop, sometimes it ends up being an overthrow, but the mechanics of it, it's almost flawless. And you got to ask yourself, well, how do we stop it? You don't stop it. You find a way to contain it and take as much minimal damage as possible every single time that he's out there. Because if you can keep him in that vicinity, then maybe, just maybe, you'll find a way to be able to get the upset win. But once again, phenomenal day. I mean, it felt like even when he started to get a little bit rattled, there was a point in the third quarter where he gets the strip sack and then they score immediately. And now Missouri's starting to trend upward and we got a tie game. And you watch as Nick Sheridan pulls Ty Simpson in, and they start getting to a little bit of, not an altercation is not the right word, but it's an uncomfortable conversation. And then to watch him come on out and go, you know what? Fine, I'll respond in this way. And for him to be able to make throw after throw, the big 4th and 8 pass to Latsier Brooks, incredible play performance. Then to punch it on into the end zone with the Daniel Hill 1-yard touchdown pass. Overall, you can't be complaining that much. 23 of 31 on the day, 3 total touchdowns. Also had a run on 10 different occasions. The thing about Alabama that's so crazy, TJ, is they've gotten to a level of where, and I said this last week, I think that Alabama has a second punch. They have a second gear to this offense. Do you know Ryan Williams didn't have a catch in this game? It was non-factor the entire game. Did not do a damn thing. It wouldn't matter because, hey, he got Latsier Brooks stepping on up. He's looking the part. He's boot scooting and booging and making play after play, coming on down with a big 29-yard pass. You got Isaiah Horton finding his way to the end zone. We got Jeremy Bernard still getting first down after first down. We got Daniel Hill out of the backfield making a play here and there. We got Kevin Riley making plays here and there. We got good tight end position. We didn't even need Ryan Williams to do much on this afternoon, and guess what? We were good. That was all we could ask for. And defensively, Alabama was able to capitalize and get a couple of key turnovers, specifically the one on the final drive. Bad pass by they were able to score. I will say, if you Alabama had multiple self-inflicting wounds where they could have put the game away and they didn't. And Alabama is one of those teams that I think is built to go on a run.
Oh, lost Cole there for a second. Let's see here. Give us just a sec on the technical difficulty. I don't want to get too far away from what Cole was saying because he was going on a bit of a roll. What I'll do real quick is while Cole is jumping back in, I will for some love real quick. Just a quick plug. If you've been waiting to deposit with them, use our code CFA for 100% match up to $100 and a free $20 entry. If you use our code CFA on the Sleeper app, check their terms and conditions because terms of use do apply. I think we got Cole back. Again, appreciate Sleeper for their support. Actually, maybe we didn't. Maybe we didn't get Cole back. Let's see here. If I can click the right video, then we'll have Cole back. All right, there we go.
There we go. I have no idea what happened. Anyways, so back to the main point. You still had a very good game plan if you were Missouri. In fact, I say you had one of the better game plans if you were Missouri because you did some things that made Alabama feel vulnerable, feel very much human. You pressured Ty Simpson. You got 4 sacks on the day. Georgia didn't get 4 sacks against their matchup. So again, there was a lot of things to where you can say you feel confident in the direction of where Mizzou is as a program, to just not at Alabama's level. And it came down to some really ineptitude moments. You know, the 4th down fake punt opportunity. You try to catch Alabama slipping. They didn't. They capitalized. They got a touchdown off of it. They were up by 10. You had the bad interception earlier in the fourth quarter by Bo Pabula. You had another bad with Bray Hubbard on the play. You had another bad interception to close things out. I mean, the bottom line is that Mizzou had its opportunities. They kept this thing in battle, but it just ended up being a matchup to where they were overpowered and those critical mistakes kind of came back to beat them. Alabama was better on 3rd down, 6 of 15 versus 1 of 10. They finished with more total yards. They won the turnover battle. They had fewer penalties in this matchup as per usual. Even though they didn't outrush Mizzou, they still had a very, very good balanced approach on what was going to be their ground game attack to set up the passing attack. So I think that when you look at Alabama, this is now a team that you have to take into consideration. If you throw out that week 1 matchup with Florida State, they look like a top 5 team in college football. They don't shoot themselves in the foot. They don't make many mental mistakes. Even when they're at fault at times, Ryan Grubb and this offense finds a way to be able to counteract the error on the play before, throw it out, and never let it fester. Let it just go back to square one. On the flip side, if you are Missouri, you lost a football game. You lost a football game at home right before you go on a road trip. But you know what? It may be the best thing for you because if you know what to experience when now you are down and discounted. I think that that's where you got to go ahead and say the Tigers are still in this hunt for a college football playoff bid. I'm not saying it was a great game. Alabama certainly could have easily pulled away with this one. They made things interesting down the stretch.
Alabama currently, well, before I do that, I loved what you talked about Ty Simpson being surgical, and their offense very much feels like that too. It's the complete contrast, and we'll talk about this game on Wednesday, I'm sure, but it's the complete contrast with what we've seen out of like Tennessee being very explosive. Alabama just takes what's there, and they're so good, and they're so, again, methodical, surgical, whatever word you want to use for that. And Ty Simpson, again, it's him. I mean, I still think Reuben Bain should probably be getting better Heisman odds than he is, but at the end of the day, it just is a quarterback award. And so since I've accepted that, I can be happy that a Miami player is not going to win it. But I mean, it is Ty Simpson for me. Their odds right now, I don't know how often you look at this. I know you guys partner over at SEC Unfiltered with FanDuel. Alabama's odds to win the SEC championship are plus 160. The next team on the list is Texas A&M at plus 480, Georgia at plus 500, and then a pretty good gap to Ole Miss and Texas in the 700s. Alabama is an overwhelming favorite to win the SEC, and they've got traps left. They have the game against Tennessee this weekend. They've got to play LSU. Those teams don't really look super formidable right now. They have to go to the Plains. I get it at the end of the year. But it feels like it's shocker, right? It feels like it's Alabama's again. Now, that can turn on its head if you drop a couple of games you shouldn't, which they've already shown the propensity to do that once this year. But it very much feels like Alabama's conference at this point. And even A&M, who is undefeated as well and looks really good. Looks like they've maybe erased some of the 8-4 moniker that has plagued that program. I mean, to have 300 points, more than 320 points between you and Alabama in being the favorite to win the SEC, odds are not what they are. Clemson was the favorite to win the ACC this year to start the thing, but it just feels like Alabama, when they play up to their potential, it's them and everybody else in that conference.
If you took away the Florida State game, not knowing anything that happened in that matchup, just take it out and just looking at Alabama and how they're playing football right now, where do you rank them? I think at worst 5. At worst 5.
Probably
at best, you can make
3. Yeah,
I say at best 3. I think Miami right now has earned the right to put themselves in a position where they could at least be in the favorites, of being a national title contender. I think once again there were some faults. There were in the Illinois game, but still won the football game. You only gave us 16 points. Ohio State deserves to be the favorite. Indiana, I'm not doubting them because if they went on the road and they won by 10 points against Oregon, I still have a lot of high hopes for Oregon. But you can make a case that maybe Alabama's playing a little bit more efficient than them, and you can make a case that maybe Alabama's playing a little bit more efficient than Texas A&M. But if you take out that Florida State game and just blindly look at the way every single Saturday teams are playing, Alabama at worst is number 5. At best, they're number 2. And honestly, I think that's fair because of if your quarterback is making the plays that we constantly are seeing with Ty Simpson, you're going to be the favorites to, I think, hoist up a national title. Here's the only counter I will say. I did think that this matchup for Missouri was going to be Alabama's toughest battle yet. You do look at Tennessee. Tennessee's ability to pressure quarterbacks, and they lead all Power 4 teams in sacks right now. If they can get after Alabama in Bryant-Denny Stadium, it could be a very, very long night. But I'm also not betting against Alabama at night in Bryant-Denny Stadium because I've seen what has happened there before.
Somebody mentioned Tennessee. Their odds for the SEC are plus 3,500 behind Oklahoma, LSU, Missouri. Um, it's a long shot. They need to run the table, and they've got a very difficult road ahead of them to try and do that.